All right, welcome to another deep dive here on I Don't Have Time to Read.
Yeah, always fun to dive into a new book.
Today we're going to be looking at Dark Matter.
Ooh, Dark Matter by Blake Crouch.
That's right.
I really enjoyed this book.
It's a wild ride through the multiverse, this idea of what if all the choices we didn't make.
All happening in a parallel reality, right? It's a really cool concept.
So it's a science fiction book, but it's also like a deeply human story.
Yeah. It really makes you think about the choices we make, and the paths that we don't take.
Exactly. Like, what would we be willing to sacrifice for the life we truly desire?
It's a big question.
So let's talk about our main character. This is Jason Dessen.
Okay.
He's a physics professor living a pretty ordinary life in Chicago.
Okay.
He's got a wife, a teenage son, good job. He's content.
The simple life.
He's not, a superstar.
Right.
He's just happy with his life.
He's got everything he needs.
And Crouch, he really emphasizes this, like, ordinariness at the beginning.
Yeah, and you'll see why. You'll see why that's so important later. As the story goes on, it's really
It's like setting the stage.
Yes, exactly. Setting the stage for like a dramatic fall.
Yes.
So you need to see Jason's comfortable, familiar reality, to really get the full impact of what happens to him.
And then it's all ripped away.
Oh, yeah.
So one night he's, going out.
Okay.
He's going to meet an old friend, Ryan Holder, who just won this prestigious award. Seems like a pretty normal evening, right?
Just a night out with a friend.
But on the way, he's abducted
Oh.
by this guy wearing a geisha mask.
Oh, wow. That's creepy.
Yeah, I mean, talk about unsettling.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's like a nightmare.
Yeah.
It just immediately throws you into this world of suspense.
That geisha mask, by the way, it's such a cool detail. I mean, It adds this layer of like surrealism to the whole thing, from the beginning. Like, okay, the rules don't apply here.
So get ready.
Yeah.
Because things are about to get really weird.
Okay, I'm strapped in.
Jason, he wakes up in this strange laboratory.
Mm-hmm.
He manages to escape. And then, boom, he finds himself in this reality that's just slightly off.
What do you mean slightly off?
So, like, his house is occupied by strangers. His wife, she doesn't recognize him.
Okay.
His life, it seems to have been erased.
Wow. So it's like he's in the wrong reality.
Yeah, and this is where Crouch really starts playing with this idea of, like, fragile identity.
Oh, that's interesting.
Can you imagine suddenly you're surrounded by these people who insist that you are someone that you know you're not?
That would be terrifying. I mean, that would really mess with your head.
It makes you question, like, what defines who we are?
Yeah. If everyone's telling you you're this person that you're not, you would start to wonder.
Like, what if your memories are wrong?
Right?
So it's like stepping into a parallel universe where everything is familiar but also fundamentally wrong.
I see. And then Jason, he digs deeper and he uncovers this mind-blowing concept, this device called the box.
The box. Okay.
So the box, this is the key to the entire story.
Okay.
And it's a device that uses quantum superposition
Okay.
to allow people to travel
To travel.
between different realities.
Oh, okay. So it's like a portal
Yes.
to other universes.
Exactly. And this is where the science fiction really kicks in.
Okay. Yeah.
But Crouch, he does a great job of explaining this very complex concept.
Yeah. Because, I mean, quantum physics, that can be pretty hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
But
Right.
he makes it, like, accessible,
Yes.
for the average reader.
And so the box is like a gateway to the multiverse.
So all those different paths, all the
Yes.
different choices.
All the what if.
It's both exciting and terrifying to think about, right? Like, if we had access to that.
I think so.
Yeah.
But what's even more unsettling is the person behind Jason's abduction.
Oh.
Turns out to be another version of himself.
Another Jason.
So there's two of them.
A Jason who made different choices and now, like, covets the life that our Jason has.
Oh, wow. That's messed up. So it's like he's jealous of his own life.
Right. But this is where we hit this uncanny valley effect. Like, imagine coming face to face with a version of yourself who isn't you. Someone who shares your memories but has this, like, totally different personality.
Okay, yeah.
It's both fascinating
Yeah.
and deeply unsettling.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you would really have to question, like, what makes you you if there's another version of you out there.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop there. Jason, he gets thrust into this perilous journey through various alternate Chicagos, each with a different version of his life. Different Daniela, different set of challenges.
Different Chicago. So it's not just him that's different. It's like the whole world is different.
Yeah, so like there's a Chicago engulfed in flames, one that's buried under ice, even one ravaged by disease. Each reality is more bizarre and terrifying than the last.
Wow. Okay. That sounds intense.
And what's really chilling is that he's not alone. He encounters other versions of himself, and there's this like underlying sense of competition, even hostility between them.
Oh, wow. So it's like they're all fighting for the same life. Interesting. So it raises this question of like, what happens when your desires for a particular life, clash with the desires of your alternate selves? Do you have the right to claim a life that in another reality belongs to someone else?
Yeah, I mean, the ethical implications, pretty mind-boggling.
Right. Yeah. It's almost like a fight for survival, you know?
Yeah.
Not just against like these external threats, but also like internal, trying to figure out who you are when you're constantly running into other versions of yourself.
And just when you think things can't get any more intense, this psychiatrist from the lab, Amanda, joins Jason.
Amanda. Okay.
Yeah.
So now there's two of them.
Yeah. And their situation, it just gets more desperate as they navigate these like treacherous realities.
Yeah. I mean, if each reality is, worse than the last, it's got to be pretty stressful.
And they only have a limited supply of this special drug. That helps them, withstand the strain of jumping between these universes.
Okay. So this drug, it's important, right?
It's crucial for like their mental and physical well-being. Yeah. Amanda, she's a really interesting character.
How so?
She brings this like unique perspective to the story.
Okay.
Because she worked with the other Jason, the one who created the box.
Oh, okay.
So she understands like the allure and the danger of chasing these, these alternate realities.
So she's seen what it can do to people.
Yeah.
Interesting. And how does she interact with Jason?
So their dynamic, it adds another layer of complexity to the story. Amanda, she provides a sense of grounding for Jason, helps him process the trauma, but there's also this like hint of romantic tension between them.
Oh, okay. So it's not just a partnership. There's something else going on there.
Yeah, and it raises these questions about loyalty.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in a situation like that, who would you trust?
Yeah, and how do you even define the boundaries of loyalty when, the very concept of identity is being challenged?
Right. It's really makes you think. And what about his family? The one he left behind. Do we ever see them?
Oh yeah, Crouch. He doesn't let us forget about them.
Okay.
We see the impact of his disappearance on his wife, Daniela, and their son, Charlie. It's a reminder that our choices, they don't just affect us.
Right.
They ripple outward,
Right.
touch the lives of those we love most.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's easy to forget about the people who are left behind, when you're caught up in your own problems.
And the scenes with Daniela and Charlie, they're really powerful. It highlights the emotional toll of uncertainty and loss.
So even though Jason is fighting to get back to them, they're kind of dealing with their own multiverse. This world of possibilities where he might be dead, he might be alive, he might be lost forever.
And then there's Ryan, Jason's old friend, the one who won the award.
Oh, yeah, the one from the beginning. What about him?
He plays a pretty significant role throughout the book.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He represents this path that Jason could have taken if he had stayed fully dedicated to, like, his scientific pursuits.
Okay.
It's like Crouch is showing us the alternate version of Jason's life. The one where he achieved great success, but maybe at the cost of personal fulfillment.
So it's like both Jasons have something the other one wants.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, is there even a right path?
Right.
Or are we always faced with trade-offs, sacrificing one thing for another? As Jason jumps from one reality to the next, the lines between, like, right and wrong, good and bad, they just become so blurred.
Okay, so it's not as simple as just trying to get back home?
Right. It becomes more about understanding himself, confronting his fears, coming to terms with the choices that he's made.
It's a journey of self-discovery.
Yeah, and this is where dark matter, it goes beyond, like a simple science fiction thriller.
Yeah.
And it delves into this deeper, like, philosophical territory.
Okay, I like that.
It forces us to examine our own identities and to grapple with the fact that there might be countless versions of ourselves out there, shaped by different decisions, different experiences.
It makes you wonder, like, if we could change our past, would we even want to? Would we be happier? Would we just create a whole new set of problems?
Exactly, like a whole new set of regrets.
Right.
And, speaking of consequences.
Oh, yeah.
As Jason gets closer to finding his way back to his original reality,
Okay.
the stakes, they just keep getting higher.
Of course, yeah.
He realizes that his actions, they have ripple effects across the multiverse.
Okay.
And he might have to make some really difficult choices.
Choices that could impact other versions of himself?
Exactly. Choices that could have, devastating consequences for other Jasons.
Wow. Okay, so now it's not just about him, it's about all the other versions of him, too.
And this is where the, moral dilemmas really kick in.
Yeah, how can you even, compare the happiness of one version of yourself versus another?
Right. Is there a hierarchy of selves?
That's a good question. And I remember you mentioned that they had a limited supply of that special drug, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that must be coming into play now, too, right?
Yeah, it becomes a ticking clock, adding another layer of tension to the story.
So they're running out of time.
Yeah.
Not just to find their way back to their own realities, but also to just survive in this multiverse that just seems to want to break them. And we're left wondering, will Jason ever find his way back to his Daniela, to his Charlie, to the life that he so desperately wants?
Right. Or will he be lost forever in this labyrinth of alternate realities?
Haunted by all those ghosts of choices not made.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty heavy thought. It keeps you on the edge of your seat for sure.
Yeah. But beyond all the suspense and the mind-bending science, dark matter, it really boils down to this powerful exploration of love and loss and the choices that define who we are. While I was reading Dark Matter, I kept thinking about the symbolism.
Oh, yeah.
It's each of those alternate Chicagos that Jason visits, they represent a different aspect of his internal struggle.
That's a really interesting thought. I can definitely see that. Crouch really uses those settings to their full potential, not just as backdrops, but as
reflections.
Yes, reflections of his emotional state, like the apocalyptic Chicago, for example.
Yeah.
With the crumbling buildings and the ash-filled sky. It's it perfectly mirrors the devastation that Jason feels when he's, ripped from his reality.
Right. His world is literally collapsing around him.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's that frozen Chicago. That one always felt to me like a representation of Jason's emotional shutdown.
Yes. He's surrounded by this familiar landscape, but it's cold, lifeless, untouchable. It's he can't connect with anyone.
Yeah. And let's not forget about the Chicago where Daniela is sick and their son is dead.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That one's tough.
It's heartbreaking. It taps into that primal fear of losing the people we love most.
And Crouch, he doesn't shy away from those raw emotions, He really makes you confront those fears, the possibility that even in the multiverse, there's no guarantee of happiness. That tragedy can strike no matter what choices you make.
Yeah, it's heavy stuff.
Yeah.
But even with all those horrors, he never gives up. He keeps fighting, keeps searching, driven by that, unwavering love for his family.
It's pretty incredible, his determination. It really speaks to the power of love, doesn't it? The way it can fuel us, even when things are at their worst.
Yeah. I think that's what makes the ending so powerful. Jason does find his way back to his own reality.
Yeah.
But it's bittersweet,
Yeah. How so?
He has to leave another version of himself trapped in a different world.
Oh, wow. So it's a victory, but also a defeat.
Exactly. A moment of profound joy tinged with a deep sorrow. Dark Matter, it's definitely a book that stays with you long after you finish reading it. It's thrilling, it's mind-bending. But at its core, it's about identity, choice, and the power of love.
I couldn't agree more. It's a must-read for anyone who's ever wondered what if. Anyone who's ever contemplated the roads not taken, the lives we might have lived. It's a reminder that our choices matter and that they shape not only our reality, but the realities of those around us.
If you're looking for a book that will challenge you, thrill you, and make you think about the world in a whole new way, Dark Matter is definitely worth checking out. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, be sure to subscribe to I Don't Have Time to Read for more insightful discussions on fascinating books. Will help you stay informed and entertained, even if you're short on time. Thanks for joining us.